General Hospital. A father's fury, a mother's silence, and a son's revelation. Port Charles has never been a city short on secrets, but even for a town built on betrayals and buried truths, the revelation that Gio Palmieri is the son of Dante Falconeri and Brooklyn Quartermain sent shockwaves no one could have anticipated. As emotional tremors ripple outward from this bombshell, the fragile foundation that Dante and Lulu Spencer began to rebuild at the nurses' ball now teeters on the brink of collapse. What was meant to be a night of reconnection has turned into a firestorm of regret, shattered trust, and questions that may never have answers. In recent weeks, Dante and Lulu had started to bridge the painful chasm between them. Their reunion was anything but simple, shadowed by years of loss, separation, and heartbreak. Dante's devastation over Sam McCall's tragic death still lingered, but Lulu's unexpected re-emergence from her long coma had rekindled a spark neither of them was prepared to face. At the nurses' ball, the two allowed themselves a moment of vulnerability, acknowledging the embers of love that still burned beneath the ashes. But that flicker of hope was short-lived. The truth unraveled with quiet cruelty. A nurse at the high school prom, one who had worked during Gio's birth years ago, innocently confirmed what Lulu had feared for weeks. Dante was Gio's biological father. But what made the revelation unbearable wasn't just the fact of the paternity. It was that Lulu had known, or at least suspected, and chose to say nothing. Dante's sense of betrayal was immediate and visceral. The news was not just a gut punch, it was a betrayal that cut into his core identity as a father, a partner, and a man who had built his life on protecting those he loved. To learn that he had a son, a living, breathing part of himself walking the halls of Port Charles High, whom he had never even known existed, and worse, to find out that the woman he had just begun to trust again had kept that truth from him, was unbearable. Lulu's reasons, while understandable to some, rang hollow to Dante's ears. She had believed it was her responsibility to confirm her suspicions before turning his world upside down. With Cody Bell's help, she had traced the threads of Gio's adoption, uncovering Brooke Lynn's teenage pregnancy and the buried details surrounding the child's fate. It was Lois Cerullo, Brooke Lynn's own mother, who had kept the final truth from surfacing until it was too late to contain. Now, everything has imploded. Brooke Lynn is reeling from the sudden understanding that the son she gave up is not only back in her orbit but also at the center of a family maelstrom. Lois, for all her maternal bravado, must now account for years of silence that may have irreparably harmed her daughter. And Gio, innocent, bright, and deeply curious about his roots, is caught in a whirlwind of identity, history, and emotional chaos that he never saw coming. But no one is more emotionally volatile than Dante, who sees himself not only as a betrayed father but as a man robbed of years he can never reclaim. His fury toward Lulu isn't just about her silence, it's about the trust that was broken when she decided he couldn't handle the truth. Her intentions may have been protective, even noble in their own way, but the result was devastation. And Dante, a man who has already suffered the loss of a partner, a career, and the normalcy he once fought to maintain, may not be able to weather this final blow. In the aftermath, tensions simmer throughout Port Charles. Dante has begun to distance himself from Lulu, unable to reconcile the woman who confessed her love so recently with the one who kept such a monumental secret. He's drawn toward Brooklyn, if only out of obligation and a shared grief for the years lost with Gio. Their past may be messy, but the bond of parenthood now binds them in ways neither of them ever anticipated. For Brooklyn, the re-emergence of her son stirs a torrent of unresolved feelings. Guilt over giving him up. Fury at Lois for hiding the truth. And a deep, aching fear that the boy who now knows his true lineage will never fully forgive her for the absence she didn't know how to make right. Her relationship with Chase, already under strain, now hangs in the balance as she is pulled further into a web of maternal longing and responsibility. As for Gio, the young man stands at the center of this storm with no idea how to process what he's learned. The family he thought he knew has changed overnight, and while he may feel a connection to Dante and Brooklyn, trust is not given lightly, especially by someone who has just discovered he was a secret for most of his life. Questions plague his every thought. Why was he given away? Why now? And what does this mean for the future he imagined for himself? Amid all this, Lulu is left on the outskirts, watching as the people she cares most about begin to forge connections without her. She tries to explain her motivations, pleads for understanding, and clings to the belief that her silence was not malicious but cautious. Still, the damage may be irreversible. Her dreams of rekindling her relationship with Dante may have been nothing more than that, dreams. Dante, meanwhile, finds himself at a crossroads. His emotions are a labyrinth of anger, longing, and confusion. He wants to be a father to Gio, but he also wants answers. He craves connection but recoils from betrayal. And while he once believed that Lulu might be part of his future, he now questions whether the woman who once held his heart is capable of being part of the life he must now rebuild. Sonny Corinthos, ever the patriarch, becomes an unexpected source of support. Though his own life is far from uncomplicated, Sonny knows the pain of discovering children later in life, and his advice may prove pivotal in guiding Dante through this maze of new responsibilities. Whether it will help bridge the gap between Dante and Lulu remains to be seen. What comes next for Dante, Lulu, Brooklyn, and Gio is unclear. Forgiveness, if it comes at all, will take time. Trust must be earned, and hearts, once broken, do not mend easily. The road ahead is rocky, lined with emotional landmines and the ghosts of decisions long buried. But in Port Charles, where redemption and ruin often walk hand in hand, there is always hope. Hope that a father and son can bond despite years lost. Hope that a mother's love, though hidden, can still find its way. And hope that love, however battered and bruised, can be resurrected from the ashes of silence.